Attrition, what are you doing? Shh. What do you mean, shh? Don't shush me. Listen, be very, very quiet. I'm hunting trolls. What? Trolls? Internet trolls. They're all around. You mean trolls? Are you making fun of my speech in Pelican? Did you just say speech in Pelican? What is up and what is the mission? Attrition here, bringing you another installment of Mission Attrition. So, in an earlier video, I talked about haters. This time, I'm going to be talking about people who sometimes resemble haters, but they're not quite the same thing. I'm talking about those people who have nothing better to do than to try to create some cheap, usually untasteful humor at your expense. Or rather at the expense of anyone who will bite. I'm talking about trolls. Nah. Not the ones that you pay to toll to cross the bridge. I'm pretty sure those are just undercover cops. Nah, I'm talking about the people who like to make you feel bad because they just think that shit's funny. Now, personally, I like trolls. Whenever I see them, usually right here on YouTube, patrolling the comment sections, I get excited. Because that means I get to pull out my troll hunting gear and go to work. It's a beautiful thing, man. One of my favorite pastimes. Beating trolls over the head with their own damn ignorance. But see, I'm a professional troll hunter. Most people don't like trolls. To most, they represent either a minor annoyance like a fly or some other type of insignificant pest, or they represent pure evil, causing despair and distress to their victims. So, I'm gonna give you a few tips on how to properly identify and deal with them. Now first, you have to understand that trolls don't care about being wrong or right. That's not what they're after. What they're after is your loss of composure. Oftentimes, they deliberately say ignorant shit just so you can get all flustered trying to correct them on their inaccuracies. For example, one outdated troll tactic is to purposely portray the common Zelda misconception for all my gamers out there. But they do it in a way that makes the trolls seem like they know what they're talking about, right? They'll say something like, I love Zelda. He's one of my favorite characters because he wears green and uses the Master Sword, right? Or some shit like that. Then they'll just wait for somebody to take the bait. They'll wait for that one gullible victim to come along and say, Zelda's not a guy, you motherfucker. That's just the name of the game. Zelda is actually the princess that Link saves from Ganon, and it's Link that wears the green and uses the Master Sword. And I totally have no clue I'm being trolled right now because I'm tired of these ignorant wannabe gamers that keep popping up talking about shit they know nothing about, and blah blah random Zelda facts. Ocarina of Time was better than Majora's Mask, but A Link to the Past was this, that, and the other, and blah blah blah. Then the troll will coup de grace and reply with, nah, you motherfucker, you obviously have never played Zelda. Zelda is the hero. Why would they name the game Zelda if he's not the main character, you ignorant bitch? At that point, it's feeding time for the troll. Because now, the gullible Zelda fan is losing his shit. And loss of composure is what trolls eat. They eat your annoyance, your anger, your disgust, your discomfort. Now, this example would be used by what I like to call a low-level troll. Most people know what's up and generally just ignore the low-level ones, trying to pull off harmless shit like that. I generally don't waste my time hunting low-level trolls unless I'm really bored and there's no bigger game around. Then you got your mid-level trolls. These are the ones that just blatantly say mean shit in an effort to expose tolerance caps. And you can usually find them anywhere people are discussing hot topics like racism or gay rights and such. These mid-level trolls will just shamelessly march in and shit all over reason, logic, and civility, and piss a whole bunch of people off in the process. Then they'll feed for as long as they can until they get muted, or until people realize that throwing more logic and reason at them won't work and they just give up. For me, hunting these trolls is mildly entertaining, but they're usually pretty easy to defeat. That is, it's pretty easy for me to take their foot and stick it in their own mouth and let them chew on that shit for a while. Finally, you got your high-level trolls. These are the ones that are disguised as intelligent people and are able to employ subtlety and tact into their trolling efforts. These trolls have a bit of a different diet than their low-level brethren. Instead of feeding on negative emotions, they feed on the agreement of their victims. A high-level troll will spew some ignorant shit in an intelligent manner and recruit a boatload of victims onto their bandwagon, then feed upon their misguided concurrence. And should anyone come along to challenge their trollery, they sick their newly gathered minions out to do the rest of their trolling for them. These are the ones I look for. These are the most dangerous because they actually create lower level trolls that then go and terrorize other folks. Now, those are the basic types of trolls that are out there. There are multiple variations, but for all intents and purposes, knowing the basics is good enough. Now, let's talk about how to identify them. Identifying lower level trolls is usually pretty easy, so I won't spend too much time on it. Generally speaking, anytime you see or hear anything that is blatantly ignorant and goes against not only common consensus, but also goes against plain old common sense, chances are you're dealing with a troll. Now, don't get me wrong. It could be that you're dealing with a genuinely ignorant person, and this person may or may not need to be set straight, depending on how you look at the world. But again, chances are it's a troll. Not much more to be said there. Now, identifying a mid-level troll is just as easy as identifying a low-level troll. The reason there's a difference in level, though, is that the mid-level trolls are generally more damaging to the environment that they're hunting in. They make their semblance of ignorance known well, and they make it known that they accept their own ignorance. They usually make blatantly hateful or abusive comments with the specific intent of causing the most offense to the most people possible as quickly as possible. If ever there were, say, a gathering of people with deadly peanut allergies, maybe they got together to discuss the best ways to avoid peanuts or find out if particular restaurants had peanut products in their food, something like that. A mid-level troll would plop right down in the middle of that gathering and at the top of their lungs scream, "Anyone who can't eat peanuts without dying is a pussy," right? That's the classic mid-level troll behavior. Easy to spot. Now, high-level trolls. These are a bit harder to identify. For instance, in the same scenario, a high-level troll would casually stroll into the gathering with a charming smile and say something to the effect of, it would be better if they just made specific restaurants for people with food allergies, and everyone with allergies would have to carry a card that displayed what allergy they had. That way, anyone without a card could just go to any restaurant they wanted, and people with cards could go to restaurants made specifically for them. See? A little more subtle, isn't it? On the surface, it sounds nice. Sounds kind of like a solution. But you'd be surprised at how many people would jump on board. And anyone with dissenting opinions would be seen as unsympathetic towards people with food allergies, even though the original message was low-key supporting the segregation of people with food allergies. Now, I understand that that's not the greatest example, not really realistic, right? But I think it gets across the basic idea of how high-level trolls work. They come in and say things that sound good, but really they're secretly shitting on somebody. Now, how to deal? Fortunately, dealing with trolls is pretty similar to dealing with haters. You just ignore them. Easy. Cyberbullying solved. Go ahead and dust your hands off and let's move on to the next issue. Except, it's not that easy. Ignoring people is just not easy for most. I don't know why. I don't particularly understand it, but I'm also not one to question the reality of things. People are affected by trolls, cyberbullies, every day, regardless of whether you think it's a real problem or not. So what do you do if you can't ignore them? Well, you find a troll hunter like myself and let us deal with them. Because I kid you not, if you try to tango with a troll and you don't know what you're doing, you're going to end up sitting at the negative end of your emotional spectrum more often than not. The thing about good people is they try to right the wrongs of the world. It's a noble cause. The problem is trolls are able to capitalize on people's inherent desire to make things better. And so the troll purposely and consistently makes things worse in order to keep the people scurrying around trying to clean up the mess, all the while exposing their delicious, juicy, negative emotions for the troll to feed on. So, do me a favor, folks. The next time you spot a troll, either ignore them or point them out to your nearest troll hunter. They're out there. Seriously, there are people that can dismantle a troll without breaking a sweat. Don't know any hunters? Look no further, because you got one right here. Seriously, send me a request. Hit me up in the comments on Facebook, Twitter, wherever, and let me know where the trolls are, and I'll come give them the old what for. But that's it for now, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video if you liked it, dislike if you're a low-level troll. And until next time, Attrition signing out. Stay tuned for the next episode of Mission Attrition.